Thank you. Oh, two, multiple. Sydney, and then Caitlin Renner. When I read it, it made sense, but when I'm looking at it, okay. So I kind of talked about this yesterday, right at the end of the hour, that because of the Raptor time, we ran out of time, and I wasn't able to show you how to do this information electronically. So whichever method you use is fine. I'm just going to show you both. And honestly, if you prefer one over the other, like even if you have a graphing calculator, if you prefer the Desmos one, feel free to use that one instead. So let's do the TI-84 first. And I'm sure it's, what, is there like 5 to 10 people in here that have one, a graphing calculator? Okay. On the graphing calculator, there's a button for all the statistics things. And so you would hit stat first. And then you have to enter the numbers into the calculator, which is what this edit button does. Edit means you're allowed to edit the lists. So under list 1, does anybody have like a whole bunch of numbers in their list already? If you have a bunch of numbers in here, you can just type over them if you want, or you can hit delete on individual numbers, or if you scroll up to L1 and hit clear, but don't hit delete. If you hit clear and then push down, it'll wipe all of them out. It's kind of weird. It doesn't have a very good system for getting rid of old numbers. Up on both whiteboards, I put a whole bunch of numbers that we're going to use for our example. So that's what we'll put in first. 6422. So 6, enter 4, enter 2, 2. 179, 1, 9, 10, 12. Okay. Is there anybody that wants like assistance, you know, wasn't able to get that in quite right yet? Don't do it right now. So once you put it in your calculator, you have to tell your calculator that you want to find information, which is kind of the annoying part. So then you hit stat and move over to calculations, because that's you telling your calculator to calculate something. There's a lot of choices here that are used for different things. The one we want is the very first choice. One variable statistics, which is what normal things are, because we only have one set of numbers. If you have an older calculator, I believe you just hit enter right away again or something like that, or it might have even brought it up immediately. The newer calculators, you have to hit enter to get to calculate. Either way, it should give you the same information. So the first thing here is the mean, the average. So X bar is the mean. And then if we look down a little bit, this is the symbol I wrote yesterday for standard deviation. So the standard deviation for this set of numbers is 3.695. And then if you scroll down, there's some more information. And the last 5 numbers is the numbers you would use for a box and whisker plot. So that's pretty much it. It's the same command to find every answer on the graphing calculator. On Desmos, it isn't. So you actually have different things to do. Here, I'll get Desmos up. Okay, on Desmos, it takes a bit if you created everything on your own. And you don't have to. So the really nice thing about Desmos is you can just Google what you want Desmos to have it made up, and there's examples on there already. So I Googled 5-number summary, Desmos. And there'll be a couple videos first, and then underneath those videos, is already ones that are already made up. And so you would just click on one of those. I do have a link in Schoology for you as well. That's similar to what I'll probably do on the test, is I'll have a link in there. But you would have one that has everything here already and wrong numbers in the list. So we essentially just want to put in the correct numbers in the list and it'll find everything. So what do we have again? 6, comma, 4, comma, 2, comma, 2, 179, not a K, 10 and 12. And when you type your numbers in, it automatically corrects everything for it. So you'll see right away the median is 6. So it doesn't show it, but it puts your numbers and orders in the background and then figures things out. The smallest number, biggest number, the mean, the average. So if you need this information, it'll write it out. And then the last 5 answers written is the 5-number summary. So this is the min, first quartile, median, third quartile, max. And then the box and whisker plot is actually drawn out for you. Now, if your numbers are very different, you might have to like physically scroll or zoom in or out to have it work correctly, but that doesn't matter. So box and whisker plot info is pretty easy on Desmos as long as you have the correct setup to start with. The one thing that's missing is standard deviation. And I'm sure I could probably add a box for standard deviation, but I don't know, I don't need to. If you go to the Desmos Scientific Calculator, do you guys know how to get to the Desmos Scientific Calculator? Like if you just go to Desmos, there's various ways to do it. Obviously, that's the graphing calculator. I'm sure there's different ways. I scroll down and the scientific calculator is on the bottom. So there's different ways to get to the scientific calculator. You have to go to function. And here's where I made the mistake last hour. There's 2 different kinds of standard deviation, and I wasn't planning on teaching them both to you. But in Desmos, the normal one is written with an extra variable, and so most people didn't even see it, like me. So I saw standard deviation, so I clicked it. That's the wrong one. You need to hit standard deviation for population. And then you would just type in the numbers as we have done, which, that's the worst part of Desmos, is just typing things in again. But in Desmos, it's pretty easy because you have a full-size keyboard. I'll grab it in a sec. And so if you type your info into Desmos with the standard deviation P button, it'll give your standard deviation right here. So when you guys are doing your homework today, you're going to be asked to do a variety of things. If you're using Desmos, you'll have to use both things, because sometimes you're asked for standard deviation, sometimes you're asked for the 5-number summary. If you're using a graphing calculator, all of it's on the same screen. It's just a little bit slower to type in. Let's see, what else? I don't know. Anything else electronically you may have a question on? I don't know. Oh, okay. All right. Then I'll stop here because you guys have the rest of the time to do the work. I will say that in the homework, it doesn't specify what you should do by hand and what you should use a calculator for. I only want you to do one of them by hand. So my guess is you probably want to just do the first one since the numbers are easier and more straightforward. So by hand, do the first one. All the other ones you can do standard deviation on the calculator.